This morning's conversations with the angels are about abandonment. This seems to come through repeatedly with clients that I'm working with right now in the story of Kelly. Feelings of abandonment from relationships, from experiences, from anything seemingly happening in your life dreamscape are honestly absolutely untrue. Not one of us has ever been abandoned by anything or anyone. It is our story about them or our story about it that creates that perception. And that story is again the invitation inviting us in to explore it so that we can see that it's untrue. And in that truth of seeing it in clarity, we can recognize what was right here, the gift in it. You see, that was living inside of you. That idea that they've abandoned you. That idea that they've forgotten you. That idea that they've neglected you, walked away from you, forsaken you. All appearing here, seeming to have their own unique soul plan, seeming to play the absolute part that you've given them before ever incarnating in this apparent experience. So let's unravel that a little bit today. When Kelly was peering in on this one with the angels, what she was reminded to remember is that each appearing in this experience will show up again and again how you've written them into this moment. How you have asked them to see the beliefs, the stories and the lies that you've written about any other as anything but the same magnificence that you are a part of. We want to call this free will, but it is literally just an opportunity to look at the variables playing out on your dreamscape screen. It has nothing to do with them and never has. No one has ever abandoned another. As you look at that within yourself, as you sit with that yourself, what story is arising here? In working with Kelly, in understanding her beliefs and her stories and her constructs and her thoughts, there is an opportunity afforded her in the stillness she keeps meeting to unravel each of those stories about a them, about a this, about a that. As she sits with that and unravels it in herself, she's unraveling it in the world, for them, for this, for that. Yet if she rushes into the story of them, there's resentment, there's bitterness, there's comparison, there's contrast. There's all these unique variables that the victim of Kelly can run into. Well, I remember when I was there for them when they ... or I recall that experience when I ... Those feel like the invitation, but they're not. And how we know this? They're leading you back into the story. This boundless love will never do that. This eternal guidance will never call for that. This expansive, unconditional love that you are would never, ever wish that on anyone. Yet the duality brings you the story, the resolution of the story, and you in silence can see those two things dance back into the light. There and only there is the truth of this moment. It sounds simple, I know. We know. We, which you are a part of this, are only waiting for you to come back to the stillness and see this in truth. Don't beat yourself up when you go into the story. Don't worry that you've hurt anyone in that. The only one that seems to be hurt is the one listening to this right now. But you're listening to this right now because something within you knows that deeper and more intimately than the story you have about them or that. Spend more time here celebrating that this came into your storybook today as a reminder to remember you have never, ever, not even once, been abandoned, forsaken, or forgotten by anyone or anything. It brought you the gift of unraveling this in the dreamscape. Welcome home, sweetness. Welcome home.